Got a 10 by 12 inch target at 75 yards. I'm using Winchester steel case, that really crappy ammo. So 75 yards is a pretty good shot with this ammo for sure. And I don't have my glasses on, so it's kind of hard to see. It looks light out, but it's actually fairly dark. That wasn't super good, but you know what? This pistol is. Let's talk about it. CZ P10. Gun toting Minnesotan. So I have the CZ P10C Streamlight TLR HL1 and an empty gun. It's loaded up. So I hate this Winchester ammo still. I know it's functioning fine. It's running mostly fine. I've had very few that were like wildly out of spec like before. I get a lot of comments on that video. I hate the fact that so many people don't even like watch both the videos. It says in the comments, watch both the videos, so they comment right away with their ignorance. Anyways, the ammo I had before, people say, well, it'd run in my gun. No, the specs were so wild on some of that stuff, it wouldn't fit in the chamber of any gun. Even if you're running a Taurus or a High Point or a Glock, you know, everybody thinks their gun is immune. They were really bad rounds. But now I'm seeing mostly stuff that's within spec. It's just dirty and it's not very accurate. In fact, or it's not very precise. Makes it hard to be accurate with. This target at 75 yards, I'll throw a couple at it real quick with these. We'll see what I get. I'm not getting the best results with that. I get a little bit better with just anything brass, honestly. Let me throw, what is this, like 6 rounds? Yeah, 6 rounds. I'll throw 6 at 75 real quick. See how many hits I get. It's getting kind of dark. I don't have my glasses, unfortunately. That was a big mistake. Not just for safety, but that target is orange. It's still kind of a blur. Let's see what we get. Those are really all over the place. Let's see what we get with some brass. I'll talk about the pistol a little bit. So I'm assuming I'm somewhere over 4,000 rounds with this pistol. I don't have an exact count, unfortunately. I wish I had kept count so I could give you some more accurate details, more precise details, but whatever, that's about where it's at. Nothing has broke on the pistol yet. So far, all I'm really getting is some decent wear on the slide. But that's from being kind of rough with the pistol. Yeah, I guess rough. Been a little rough with the pistol. And not a lot of concern for like the finish and keeping it nice. I don't try to break anything on my guns, but it has worn off pretty hard. A lot of people had commented on that before. The only modification I ever made was a stupid strip of gun tape on the top, or skateboard tape on the top of it for racking it off, you know, the belt or whatever. And it seems like as long as you grab your belt, it'll hang up on those sights pretty well, and this just gives it a little more extra grip pattern. Here's a few rounds. I don't want to waste a huge amount here, but let's just see how we do with the brass. I'm gonna go over a little bit. I just want to make sure I'm lined up with my berm. That wasn't super amazing, but 75 yards is pretty impractical for a pistol, and especially stuff I'm shooting. I don't consider this high quality ammo. This is just Federal 115 grain, and it's not something I shoot groups with. I would move to the 147 grain. And actually, speaking of groups, so this pistol at 25 yards is pretty consistently pulling out like 3 or 4 inch groups from standing. I mean, just on my best days, 3 and 4 inch groups at 25 yards with Federal 147 grain. FMJs. So I was like, that's really impressive to me, guys. I know there are people who shoot better, but usually it's from the bench. With a pistol like this, it's just unbelievable. I couldn't believe 3 inch groups at times, usually around 4 inches at 25 yards. From my previous shooting history, I just wasn't shooting that tight, so this pistol has done really well. So far, the things that I noticed that are kind of hang-ups on it is, yes, the release if it's full and it's got full pressure, it's a little tight. But you know what? I'm not a guy who practices a whole bunch of mag changes. Sometimes, mostly for fun. Usually I'm going to practice fundamentals all day long and practice with the 16 rounds I can get in here. And I really like what I'm seeing so far for performance. It's like I said, it's very reliable. It hasn't been 100%. So there's the truth. And the reason it hasn't been 100% was because of the first 100 rounds out of the pistol. At first, I think the first round was actually a hang-up. I can't remember exactly what it was, if it was stovepiped or what it was. The first round was, and I had a couple in there where I guess functionally the slide was running and the round was being put in the chamber, so I always had that, but it wasn't locking open on the last round. I don't know what that was. It must have just been breaking because we're past that now, and now it's functioning well. But that was, you know, within the first 100 rounds, and you can watch my previous videos where I'm kind of experiencing some of that frustration. Now that I'm, you know, around 4,000 rounds into the pistol, now it's good. The slide release has been pretty smooth. The ambi side, I don't use that stuff for anything. I don't even really shoot left-handed much. So I can't comment on the ambi functions very much. I don't know anybody who really actually practically carries that a whole lot. So the pistol overall, oops, make sure I do this right. So so if you want to look like an idiot, leave the magazine in. I did not know what was going on there. I forgot you have to take the mag out just like any other gun. It's a safety precaution, I think. The internals of the pistol, now that I'm an idiot and I can take it apart, the internals of the pistol, I'm not seeing scary wear. You know, some guys earlier on, they thought they were wearing out different parts kind of extra fast. And I guess I don't heat up the gun as much as some people do. But I'm looking at the internals and I'm just not seeing the wear pattern that I saw in some of those early p10Cs. Still, even so, running the pistol kind of hard today, not much. Check out that streamlight. That's what happens when you shoot that stupid steel case. It gets so dirty so fast. That's only after 150 rounds. It's just black. Still pretty bright though. Does well. As soon as the lights go out here, I am going to shoot some in the dark. That'll be fun. Anyways, I'm just not seeing much of the wear. I know some guys had concerns about the relatively small surface area for that slide to run on, but it's run flawlessly. I've never had a hang up where I could not clear the malfunction like some guys had. The guide rod is of course fine, spring is fine. Internally, the barrel, this thing is a tank. I really like this barrel. It must help with that weight quite a bit. Rifling looks just fine. I don't know, I've never seen a pistol that was really that burnt out anyways within 4,000 rounds. I'm not seeing any odd wear marks, even on the high what would you say, high wear areas in here. I'm not seeing bad wear. The pistol does warm up though, I will say that. It definitely warms up relatively fast. I was shooting a P09 before this and a PCR before that, and those are not, those are aluminum or steel, aluminum in the in the PCR, that's aluminum gun, and then it's a polymer gun in the P09. There's maybe a little more metal in the P09. Anyways, those guns, when I would shoot them real hot, they just kept functioning. I really didn't notice anything out of this. This hasn't malfunctioned or anything like that, but I notice when this guy gets hot. It might be in the thinness of the polymer or the construction, the type, the blend. I'm not sure what it is. Speaking of the polymer, I know I'm all over the place, but I'm just giving you what it is because this pistol's been out forever. I actually love this grip. This is my favorite CZ grip yet. Something about this pistol, when I was seeing bad stuff about it, I couldn't get it out of my head. So I'd pick it up, I'd put it in my hand, and I would point, and I just noticed it points really, really well. And if you've never experienced that, you probably haven't had a pistol that actually pointed well. This one just points exactly where I want it to be. So I close my eyes, I aim at my target, I pull the trigger, and I'm hitting it so often, even at a little bit of distance. So it points well, fits well for me as a person. I don't really care if the pistol fits my hand better than other pistols necessarily. I just want to be able to hit targets repeatedly with good succession and good cadence. And this pistol kind of does everything I need it to. And most of that, I believe, has to do with the fact that I went from shooting a hammer-fired double signal action to a striker-fired trigger. And this trigger is still my favorite trigger. I like it better than the PPQ. There's something about the PPQ that has just a difference. It's a great trigger. But I like this one light years better for some reason. The reset, it might be the reset. I really like the reset. It's not the lightest trigger they'll ever shoot, which I wouldn't want one. But it is fairly light, and it took me a while to get used to it, even though I was shooting double single action triggers before this. I do really like this one. There's something about just the shape of it and where my finger winds up, and I'm even using the small back strap. Remember, I'm kind of a big guy. I'm 6'5", 230 pounds, so my hands are a little bit bigger than some, but I just find that I can actuate my light kind of exactly where I would want it to be. There's no place I'd rather it to be. It works really well with this stream light. I still have plenty of clearance to sneak my finger in here, even with gloves. I used to shoot it with gloves a little bit. Not a thick glove, but little gloves. So really well done on the trigger guard. I prefer a squared off trigger guard anyways, so they did good. You know, you got this little undercut here that you would have to pay for on a Glock. Pretty nice. The back strap hangs off a little bit, so even without a mag in, it feels pretty natural. You throw in the mag in, it's just perfect for my size hand. If I can just show you that. Right in there, my pinky is just touching where it comes in contact, and even when I am doing mag changes, not that I do that a lot, when I shove that guy in there, it's never once pinched me. Not a single time. I can't say the same for a lot of other pistols. This one's never pinched me, and part of it is having such a great grip. I really like the roughness that is on here. I would never feel the need to have this gripped up or redone. It's just pretty much perfect. In fact, even the stippling on the sides of the pistol where my thumbs ride, that's exactly where I want it to be. So I guess what it comes down to, guys, is for me, this pistol is it. It's not malfunctioning. It's not having problems. The first 100 rounds were a little scary because the slide, I guess, basically. It was feeding ammo, but the slide was not locking open in the last round, and I was just a little worried. When I got past that, you know, a long time ago, the pistol is just amazing. I'm finding it relatively easy to be precise with. You may not have been impressed with my 75 yard shooting on a 10-inch target, but or it's like a 10 by 12, isn't it? Yeah, it's more like a 10 by 12. Yeah, maybe you weren't impressed by that, but go try that sometime. See how many hits you're getting. I think this is pretty impressive, especially if there was a little more sunlight out on my glasses. I think I could do slightly better at 75 yards. Actually, I know I can. And when I come into 50 yards, when I go to 25 yards, I can speed with this thing. I would feel comfortable shooting this in like a competition or something. It just does so well. So as far as sights go, I probably will look at blacking these out sometime. They're not bad sights. They really aren't. They're just not impressive. There's nothing really special about them. The forward serrations, sure, cool, whatever. I guess that, I don't know, that just doesn't matter to me anymore. But there is a good texture to those serrations. I've never found myself having trouble gripping those. One thing that I thought was interesting, if you're a double single action guy, or you're shooting the previous CZs where they sit in the slide, or they sit in the frame a little differently, you had so much real estate for your thumb with those pistols. And I was a little worried that I wouldn't have that real estate anymore, or I would be getting my thumbs hung up in here, something stupid like that. But you know what? It does have a lot of real estate here for you to get a nice purchase with this part of your hand and pull it in tight, and somewhere for your thumb to stay. So I'm pretty happy with it. I guess there's not a lot of extra things I'm going to say about it. I'll answer your questions down in the comments, but 4,000 rounds in, it's just kind of an update so far. Nothing catastrophic, nothing bad other than the mosquitoes right now. Pistol's phenomenal, and it's amazing. It's fantastic, and I don't say that about almost any other pistol that I own. It's pretty good. Gun-toting Minnesotan, I would say go ahead and buy a p10C if you think you have some similar likes or dislikes to me. So, pretty good pistol. I like it. And she's out. Battery's dying. Ooh, one more bullet. Here it is. In the dark.